I'm joined by Pete Faint, the person behind the Alive at Leica concert, the band that Jack built. Hello, Pete.
Hi.
Now, this is a special concert with great links to Lancaster. Do you want to just explain what the concert's about?
Yeah, it's been a lengthy process for me. Jack Hylton was a band leader in the 1920s and 30s. He was a theatrical entrepreneur in the 40s and 50s, and when he died in 1965, his estate arranged for a gala concert, and the proceeds of the concert went to the fledgling Lancaster University, as was just being built at the time, and the Jack Hylton music rooms were built with the money from the concert.
So it's a great link for Lancaster, and also, along with having the rooms that were built with the proceeds from this concert, his sheet music archive and a whole load of other stuff was left to the library and is in the special collections there. Now, you've been going through that for the concert, but you've also written a book and you've done some other projects. How have you found the research process? It's
been made considerably easy by the archive. Jack Hylton had the lease on the Adelphi Theatre in London for many years, and long after he died, the company still had the lease. So when that lease was sold to Cameron Mackintosh or Lloyd Webber, whoever it was, in the 80s, there was a bit of a conundrum as to what to do with all this stuff. It was very nearly in a skip, but was saved eventually and brought here because of the links of the room. Nobody really knew what to do with it, so it lived for a long time in a store cupboard in County College, floor to ceiling in boxes, stayed there for a number of years until the library was expanded and the special collections appeared, the Rare Books Archive as it was called then. So they found space to open up the archive, got one of the staff to start looking after it, and that's when they began to really realise the extent of what an amazing archive it is, including about 2,000 sets of band arrangements.
Now, you've been doing research in there for many years. You're an alumni of Lancaster and you did a master's in the archive, so you're very familiar with it. Yeah. What in particular have you been researching for the concert?
For the concert, it's very much been about the first part of Hylton's career, so it's been about the music. So I've been exploring the arrangements in the archive, trying to get a balance between songs that I liked and wanted to do in the concert, songs that we knew were favourites of Jack Hylton, and things which we thought might be interesting curiosities that maybe haven't been recorded. And as you look through, you find that lots of things you'd like to do aren't there. Lots of things that you'd like to do are incomplete or indecipherable. And then whilst you're doing that, that throws up other interesting ideas. So I've tried to put together a concert that's got an interesting mix of things that people might know and things that people definitely have never heard before.
There is a very wide range of music in there. There's the standard Irving Berlin, Gershwin, Cole Porter classics. Then you've got George Formby stuff, you've got dance numbers, and a huge variety of novelty items as well. Have you got any particular favourite pieces?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm always most excited by the things that I never knew existed. So even within numbers that I've got recordings of, I've found little sections that are in the scores that were never recorded. But when Hylton went on tour, which he did extensively, he could never, or he was given an opportunity to expand, whereas 3 minutes on a 78 record was very strict. When he went on tour, he could have long medleys, maybe 5, 10, 12 minutes. So these concert arrangements were never recorded. So there's quite a few in the archive, these big long medleys or concert arrangements, very complex arrangements of songs that were otherwise recorded in a very straightforward way for dancing. They're the things that are exciting. They're hard to play. The scores are hard to decipher, and they're exciting but difficult.
It's one of those things when you just open up a folder of music and you see what's there, and only when you get halfway through do you realise exactly what's there. You were saying, you were telling me about a medley of Cheek to Cheek that you found that had suddenly a 7-part harmony a cappella bit in the middle, and it's the unexpected things like that that must make it interesting for you.
Yeah, and it's you can imagine how many of these folders I've looked through in the last couple of years, and it's always exciting to see what is in there. Sometimes only a thin amount of stuff is everything you need. Sometimes a big thick wad in one of these envelopes is nothing like what you need to try and make sense of it. And lots of these things are really, really old, very hastily scribbled pencil, light pencil on manuscript, and to try and make sense of that is really hard. So your initial look doesn't tell you everything. It's only when you actually start analysing this stuff at quite a deep level that you start to even understand what you've got in the archive and what you haven't got, you know.
Given that the band was such a talented bunch of musicians, they were playing many of these where they would just have an introduction scribbled and then it says on the parts two verses, two choruses of such a song, which is great for the band, but it must make your job an awful lot harder.
It's a nightmare, and the even bigger problem than that, the band never used sheet music on stage. So much of what they did was a given, it was unwritten. So the example that you've given, where you have a medley and the score is almost non-existent, there's just little joining sections. But also a lot of the big numbers we don't have in the archive because they just played them from memory and the scores have long since disappeared. So it is an issue, shall we say. Let's not say it's a problem, but it's certainly an issue, and sometimes is quite hard to deal with, because it's very hard to transcribe the recordings because they're so old and so unclear that to try and pick out all those individual instruments just by ear is very, very difficult.
Now, you spent a lot of time doing all this hard work, and you're coming up now to the concert, which is on Thursday the 29th of January in the Great Hall as part of the Live at Leica series. This is only one of a few events that are happening. You've also written a book about Jack Hylton, and you're working on the sheet music, but the sheet music is also going to be an expanded project, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot happening at the moment. Having started my research into Jack Hylton in the 1990s, it really is about time that these ideas came to fruition. So when I was approached to take on the concert, I thought that I needed to do all of these things. So I've finally written the definitive biography of Hylton. So that is done, and that will be released on the day of the concert and then become available worldwide. I've curated a new compilation CD which is going to be released on the same day with quite a few tracks that aren't available on any other CDs. I'm curating an exhibition in the Peter Scott Gallery at the university which is going to run for a couple of months and is going to have lots of things which literally no one who sees it will have ever seen before.
They haven't seen the light of day for 60, 50 years.
Some of them are from private collections as well, so you know, some really nice pieces. And this ongoing sheet music collection, which is probably the most exciting thing.
Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about how this is being made available?
Yeah, well, you know, this is something we talked about for a long time, and the idea of digitising these old scores that are very difficult to read is a lovely idea, and something which theoretically one could monetise, but really it's quite a niche thing. Essentially the idea is to take the scores, use computer notation software to recreate them and add in all the bits that are missing, most importantly, and then make these available for everyone as PDF files forever for free, which is just a brilliant thing to do. And
it's a great legacy.
It is a great legacy, and the more of these we can get available, that becomes a really big deal, I think, for the university. And the size of a dance band in those days is not, well, the format of that isn't something we really use now. So the plan is to make these arrangements available in their original scoring, also in a modern big band environment, which was slightly different, and also in a small band sort of jazz combo situation, so that we can take the ideas of these arrangements and use them in various forms. Essentially not just say, here is an anachronistic thing which nobody's going to ever play, but here's this in a format that you might use and a format that is really, really workable. And I think that's important, and the idea to have that just available for anyone, I think is a great thing for the sort of legacy of Jack Hylton. I think it's a great thing for the university, it's a great thing for the archive. You know, apart from me and the state of my brain after doing all this work, it's great for everyone else. You know, I think it's a really, really
It's great. It's been linked in with, of course, the concert is happening on 50 years to the day that Jack Hylton died. The rest of it is actually the sheet music has been partly funded by Lancaster University's 50th anniversary funds and things like that, and it's great to tie everything in. The sheet music and the book and other CD are all going to be available in the same place.
Yep.
And that is?
That is jackhylton.com. which has been the official kind of site for about 15 years now. It's just recently got a bit of a revamp, and there's already loads of music there you can download, lots of biographical information, loads of pictures, everything that you could ever want to know about Jack Hylton, but also the option to buy my new book, buy my CD, and download all the music for free. So that's the portal really for all the music, and that will obviously expand and change over time, but that's the place where all those files are stored.
And in addition to the concert, there is going to be a tea dance on the 1st of February that
Yes.
you're working with the Music Society and the Ballroom Dancing Society on, and it's going to see a bit of a different selection of music, more dancing music than concert music, performed for anyone in the local community to come and have a dance to, have some tea and cake, and it should be a really nice chance to see it, to let people interact with the music, to dance to it in the way that it would have been in the 1930s.
Well, exactly. That's really exciting because the way I've programmed the concert is with lots of interesting songs that have interesting angles and things to talk about, you know. And so I've neglected quite a big part of Hylton's repertoire for that. So to have the opportunity to expand that into the things that people actually did. They'd go to see a band, they would play waltzes and Latin music and foxtrots and quick steps, and you know, all these different styles of music. And it's great that we can have that kind of thing still alive and sort of show people that these things are still a good, valid way to spend an afternoon. You know, that's really exciting that we can expand the repertoire like that.
As you said, all of the book, the music and the CD are available on jackhylton.com, and the book and the CD will be available from the 29th of January. The concert on the 29th, tickets can be bought through the Live at Leica website for that, and the tea dance on the 1st of February, there is a Facebook event for that. The link is on the bottom of the screen, and tickets will be bought on the door for that. Thank you for coming to join us.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the concert and the celebrations. And just lastly, you said you like the novelty pieces and things like that. Have you got one particular favourite piece?
My favourite piece would be the first Jack Hylton song that I ever heard back in the 90s. It was much harder to get hold of this stuff, and the first opportunity I had to do that was to buy a compilation CD of British dance bands. The first track on the CD, which I'll never forget, is a Jack Hylton tune, and that was called Did You Mean It? It's got it's vocals from the Swing Tet, who are an American group. It's a great tune, it's in the concert, it's on the CD, it's a belter.
Thank you very much, Pete.
Thank you.